If this looks like a greenhouse you just purchased, I can probably help you out. I have just finished building this thing. It took me about a week. I worked on it a couple days here and there, and it went pretty well for the most part. There's a few things I've actually documented as this build went. Hopefully they'll help you to make your build go a little bit smoother, and you can learn from my mistakes. I'm going to show you the outside of it first. It is a 12 by 6 foot. It does have operable windows, which is kind of cool. Let's go inside and check it out. This is the hardware it comes with. I added this little funny knob to it because my wife didn't like using this as a door handle. But come on inside. Well, this is the inside. I hope this gives you some depth perception of how big it is. You can notice a change in temperature when you walk in here. It's probably about 10 or 15 degrees warmer already, and it's 30 degrees outside. There's snow on the ground, and I can feel it's warmer in here, significantly warmer. We are going to build some planter boxes on the side of this thing, but all said and done, other than a little bit of the quality of the wood, I'm happy with it, and hopefully this will last even in the wind. I'm going to show you guys how to build this greenhouse. I'm going to do it step by step. I tried to look online before I bought it just to see how difficult it was. I found a few videos showing people doing it, but I'm going to let you guys learn from my mistakes. Step number 1 is get it out of the box. By the way, step number 1 is make sure your video is recording before you start. That's my first mistake you can learn from. Otherwise, you just get a bunch of pictures of yourself looking like an idiot. Quick little pro tip I have learned. These things actually open up like a hinged jewelry box. So if you cut the bottoms of these things open and then just lay them flat, man, it sure makes it easy getting all the stuff out. The first time I did this, I literally hacked up the box. Took me 15 minutes just to figure out how to get it open. So check this out. Now, it'll probably make a liar out of me, but let's see here. Lay it down like so and open it up like so. Ta-da! Check it out. This thing comes with a free knee pad for unloading all this crap. Man, there is a lot of parts in this thing. I have gotten one box almost completely open. What I'm going to do is I'm going to organize them, literally group them up per identical pieces. And I bet you when we're done, this garage is going to be full of stuff. And I've also kind of placed them to where you can actually see the labels. Okay, here we are. We've got everything laid out. And what I've actually done is each box comes with a set list of parts that are itemized in the box. So I've kind of grouped them all together. This box actually went the quickest. It was literally just a bunch of panels. This one was the most tedious. As you can see, look at that long list. But anyways, I'm going to keep them kind of separated like this. So that way, when I'm looking through the instructions, hopefully I can just grab from the pile. I'm usually not one to build by using instructions, but here's what the first page of the instructions reads. It reads something along the lines of installation instructions. We recommend hiring a professional install team to assemble this. Then it basically carries on to say, if you cross thread or zip in a screw sideways, please back it out and redo it. Otherwise, you're going to cause the wood to fracture. That's page 1 of the instruction. Okay, it's go time. Here we go. Look at this. We have about 100 and so pages of instructions. And they look like they're pretty detailed, well graphed, so I can see the graphics on these things are real clear. All right, this is actually coming along here. I've organized all the hardware. I'm kind of proud of this, actually. As long as I don't kick over this box and make a huge mess, I think this will work a lot better than the bags. Another build, another bunch of crappy tools. This one actually came with a couple wrenches, a drive, 2 Phillips tips that have heads on both sides, which is kind of cool. And more of these cheap wrenches from China. I do not need any more wrenches. I have probably 1,000 wrenches in that whole box full. All right, well, just like you're eating an elephant, you got to take it one step at a time. And actually, step number 1 is to peel the plastic off of these sheets. And by the way, it has plastic on both sides. So we got to see here. This is going to be tedious. I can tell this is going to take a long time. This one's actually clear, and then you got this thing here. This one here that's got the white film to it. I can probably guarantee you, after the 4th or 5th one, I'll find a way to do this really, really quickly. All right, well, it says the next step is to take this tape stuff here and wrap it around each window. I didn't want to hold this, so I put it on a broom handle and just hung it over a shelf. And literally, this stuff feels like a Band-Aid, literally. And you have to line each window. I'm not sure why, but it says to do this for every single window. And there's probably 20 of them. I found the best way to do it is to get it started and pinch it down like so. Get nice clean fittings there. I'm not sure if you can see that. I'll give you another angle on it. But and then just keep on peeling this back. Ah, crud. Of course, it's going to break on me. Hopefully, once I get this roll going, we'll go a little smoother. This is just because when you first rip it open, it gets a little shredded. Anyhow, I got a feeling this is going to look real clean for like the first 5, and then I'm going to start getting sloppy. But, anywho, I hope you guys can see that, what I did with it here. And just pull it on like that. I'm going to, because that's right at the pretty good even mark. A little press going there. Rub it up and down both ways. I don't know if it has to be totally critical as how clean it needs to be, but that actually looks pretty good. If I do say so myself. Just going to keep on carrying on here all the way around this sucker. This was a lifesaver, by the way, doing this. It's kind of getting a little messy. First couple. There we go. Let's get this sucker stuck on there. Again, the first couple you do takes a little while, then you start getting a little rhythm going in it. Start to get it looking pretty clean. Check this out. Almost got this one done. Kind of going past it, and I'm just going to break it. And that way I know, bam. I don't want to I'm trying not to waste too much of this because I don't know how much extra I'm going to have. But, oh crap, it's sticking to the window. I hope you guys can see that. Stick it on like a so. Actually, what I've noticed is if you start it, kind of fold it over like that, then you can really put some stress on it and pull on it pretty good. Clean up your edge. Now, the last ones I didn't hold them like this in my hand. I'm just doing this to show you because it's a lot easier when it's sitting on the ground. I don't know. You know, I realized I think this is to keep the water out of the plexiglass, so to speak. I don't know what this is. This is literally like a bunch of straws stuck together. Cool. Here's one little quick pro tip I want to show you guys when you're building something. You see how this, I take a look at something, I go, does it look the same on both sides and up and down? And both sides look the same. However, there's 3 screw holes on this side and only 1 on this side. I look at the directions and it says to point those upright, the 3 screws upright, according to the picture here. And then on this particular piece, they call this the O2L, it says on the directions, bevel these things so they're facing, the bevel faces outward, like that. And those are important things, otherwise you end up backing screws out. Hey, here's a quick little update and a few things I've learned along the way. Pay attention to the directions. A screws are the little ones. B screws, just think B, bigger. Also, it's real critical what side you're installing stuff, and the directions don't necessarily tell you to flip around, so pay attention. Some of the directions are for one side, and you have to flip around and do the other. I actually put the brackets on the wrong side. I don't think it matters. At this point, I'm going to let it ride. But other than that, this here, I actually drove these screws right through the plexiglass to get to their side. I couldn't tell by reading the directions if that's right or not. But the plexiglass didn't break, and it went right through and holds real tight. So we'll see how that goes. So far, so good. We've got the one side built. Hey, if I can save you all a lot of thinking about which way these channels in the 2x4s that run the back walls go, you need to, what you're looking at right here is the exterior side of it. And you can tell because it has this louver facing outward according to the directions. The channel needs to go in a way that the groove is kind of up higher on this side than it is on that side. In other words, it's only about, that channel is only about an inch this way. And from the bottom up, it's probably 2.5, well, excuse me, 1.5 inches. I tell you this because it does not really indicate that in the directions. It took me a few tries to figure it out. So far, the only crack I've gotten this thing is right here, and it's really small. Just from when I shoved a screw through there, it didn't quite go. I guess the hole was not drilled well enough. I want to get a shot of this. Can I show you this real up close? See how this is nice and flush? I realize that if you get this thing all the way up in here till it's flush, the panel doesn't fit. And the reason I know it's not right is because then this thing on here doesn't fit. On the other one, I went with how the instructions said to do it, and it looked wrong because I'll show you why. Check this out on this side. Can you get a shot over here? I did pull this thing out, but now there's a gap here. I hope you guys see that in dark. See that gap? So the window has to go behind this outer trim. Even though you're going to want to push this flush, I guess they didn't cut it right, or, well, I guess that's all it is to it. In this case, they didn't cut it right. Yours might be different, but I'm going to have to pull each one of these out now, re-screw them in on a fragile piece of wood that's only 3/8, well, I guess ½ inch. Otherwise, these things just don't slide down far enough. You see that? Okay, I'm going to give you a quick update here. I figured out what I was doing wrong with the whole channel thing. Right here, this one, these are like trim boards that basically look like a window seal. If you can see that and see this here. I was actually putting them on upside down, and I went and literally cut the trim out. If you look at this back side here, you can see how it has this little channel that drops down like an L shape. I'll show you one that's not installed yet. Okay, so right here, I was installing them like this, when in fact they're supposed to be installed like this. So there's a little catch channel here for the plexiglass to slide into. So I put them in like this, like a complete moron, trying to figure out why it wasn't fitting. And I actually went and cut this little channel off here to make the plexiglass slide down. Big mistake. I hope you guys learned from that one. All right, here's where we're at. I got this whole side panel built, and I also have completed both the front and back of it. I'm working on doing the next side panel now, and then I'm going to call it a night and put all the plexiglass in and assemble it outside. But I first also have to still do the entire foundation and what we're going to rest this on. All right, well, I had a bright idea to take a tractor and literally try to level this all off, but it's impossible for me to do a real good job with just a tractor. So then I thought, I know, I'll just put some bricks down, and now I'm realizing that just leveling off these bricks is a complete pain in the butt. So right now, we're doing a little debate whether or not we're gonna go get sand and do it right like we're literally doing pavers, or if we're just gonna continue trying to dig each one of these bricks out individually, level them off, or maybe I'm just being too particular for what we're actually trying to do here. Okay, here's where we're at now. We've basically put all those pillars in a row. They're 16 by 16 squared. We used about 9 going this way and 5 going that way. Made a little walkway. Can you get a shot of the indoor? I want to show them what it looks like inside. This part actually went pretty quick. All we had to do was secure the 2 bolts that hold each like basic corner together. That went pretty well. The toughest part of this project so far has been getting this thing leveled. We literally did it with a shovel, 1 brick at a time. It's still not perfect, but it's gonna do the trick for now. Hey, at this point I got it all squared up, and now I've done 2 of these brackets already, and I got to put the last 2 on. This is pretty cut and dry, no reason to explain it, but this kind of helps give it the real strength. Hey, if I can show you a few things here that I learned when I built this door. Number 1, this is the back side of the door. See where these basically inserts are? Not the bolts. So this is the back side of the door. This is what they're considering to be the front side of the door. Looks a lot nicer, I guess you'd say. Number 1, these L brackets here were supposed to go on the other side. I made that mistake. Number 2, I had to flip these around, make sure the channel is facing up, and this one, the channel is facing down. When I built the door, I put this with the channel facing down. I had to take the top part and try to get it to fit again. These hinges go so that they're closer to the back side of the door. And what I did is I basically just folded them all the way over like this so they'd be real tight and square. And I screwed them down in, and I still don't think I've got it perfect. This one looks a little bent out of shape. But we're gonna go with it. You'll notice this wood is not real well cut, clean. Just put it together where the holes are at and wish it the best of luck. That's pretty much what I'm gonna do. Feels pretty rickety. I might shoot some more screws in it, just extra screws to make it not sound like that. I'm all done with everything with the framing. I just have to do all the windows now, and then the roof, like basically the trusses, and then fill them with windows. And each one of those windows will be kind of tedious. There's a whole bunch of little hardware that goes. There's these wooden bats and then metal pieces of framing material that go in between each one to hold them in place. So this is going to get real tedious. Hey, I'm going to save you guys a lot of trouble. For some reason, I thought the directions say to put these panels on first, meaning the sidewalls, but it makes it really difficult to get these things in here after you do that. So I guess my suggestion is don't screw the top screws in until you get all these panels in here. But I'm now having to bend these things to get them in there. It does work. I mean, it does the trick, but it's not easy. So I don't know if I did it wrong, honestly, but that's been a real challenge just trying to get these things in here now. Cool, thank you. Okay, this has been really challenging trying to figure this one out. The runners that go across the top of the windows go as follows, and I've checked the directions like 3 times. B, A, C. I don't know why they do that. Make sure you face them this direction so the rake goes outwards, just like it's running off the pitch of the roof. Second, there are some holes in here for the screws. So you have to make sure you line the screws up right. Otherwise, when the bats come for the roof rafters, it's not going to work well. And it's taken me a few tries to get this right. I hope it goes better for you guys. I made this way harder than it has to be. As far as your next step, this is on page 45. It's called your fittings 11. Check this out. This is what it looks like. See how it's got that channel? I spent way too long trying to figure out how these things go in. They basically drop in like this. So they capture the top of the window and you screw them in. I'm going to show you. Watch this. Okay, see, they go like this is where it gets confusing because it throws you off. It goes on this side of the pane. So you go in here like this and drop it in on this side of the window pane. So they'll come down like that. I hope that's right and I don't mislead you, but that's the only way it fits, and that actually makes sense with the directions now. It took me a while to figure that one out, so I hope I just saved you some time with that little step. Hey, next up on the list here, we're actually doing these bats that go across the window here. Just so you know, these are the A or 05As. They're the little tiny ones. You have about 24 in your bag of tricks there. These go across the top. Let me show you where I can here. My lovely wife just installed one right there. Those are the little ones that go on the top. The large ones that look like this go on the bottoms. And there's a whole bunch of them. It'll take you hours to do it. Well, at least for me anyways. And we'll see you on the next step. I'm going to make this real clear for everybody, make it easy. The way these rafters, the roof rafters go in, it goes A, 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 A. Then it reads as follows. The B, C, B, or C, B. They go backwards. That's important you read that in the directions. The reason for that is there's this channel in here. For the windows that are open, they're operable windows, right? You need this special channel to be facing each other. So the B's and the C's will be needed to face each other. That's an important point because they look identical. Other than that, it's easy just to go ahead and start drilling them in. Don't do that. Make sure you get the B's and C's here. This is the front of the building. So it goes A, then B, C. Okay, I hope that helps you. I'm going to save y'all a lot of time and frustration. This took me about 30 minutes to figure out, but then again, I'm half stupid. But this is the 14L, and you got a 14 right. These need to go in here, in this groove where the sunlight goes all the way up like so. And with the larger screws, zip them in. It's kind of cool. These things just fit right in here. Okay, the next step for this is this fitting here. It's called the, I guess, 14A. Looks like this. It's just basically a 2x4 with a groove cut out. Make sure this groove right here is lined with this one here. It installs like this. Just have to make sure these grooves line up. Otherwise, your sunlight will not, or excuse me, your window pane will not slide in there. And now to make it more difficult, you don't just screw this one in. You have to actually use these T's right here. You can see let's show an example of what I did here. See that one? I just basically use these T's, which is what it calls for, to hold those in place. All right, I'll show you. This is a cool way to do these because you basically know the 2x4 is going to rest about there. So I just jam these suckers in, and then I put the 2x4 and that kind of gives me a rest to hold it on. Just make sure this thing here, I'm not sure if you're still rolling or not. Okay, has to go this way, and that is important. See how the channels line up? Can you see that from the camera? Okay, cool. This next part I'm going to show you, though, is probably the most important of all. And it took me it was the hardest to figure out how this goes in here. So this is real important. This will save your butt from having to redo it several times over. For the skylight like I've got right here, I'm going to rest it in there. Then I'm going to show them how I did it because it took me a few tries to remember. Yeah. This right here, it's the 14B. 14B. This thing needs to sit a very particular way, otherwise it will not work. And the way it needs to rest in here, I'm going to double check it because it does take a while to figure out. Okay, got it. This edge right here, this makes sense. Okay, see how it has this beveled edge? Rest it against the roof. That should be the best clue to tell you how to do this. Rest that beveled edge against the roof. Again, I'm going to show you here. See how it's shaped? This beveled edge rests against the roof like so. That's worth your price of admission right there. It took me a long time to figure that out. I don't know, maybe you guys are smarter than me. You'll figure it out quicker. And then that way your window actually fits in there. See how this window's fitting in now? Somewhat. Here's one of the last and final steps you're going to have to do is build these things here. This is supposed to be a support system to hold the window up. Hope you can see that. While it's airing out. And it's 32 degrees outside and it's getting warm in here. So you definitely want to install this. But the problem is make sure your channels look like this. I'll show you one of the challenges I had is you're tempted to put this in the middle, but if you do, you cannot get this thing to close. This is supposed to be a rack to rest this thing on. I don't know how. I'm gonna have to redo some things here. Also, you'll notice I use 1/4-inch screws right here. I could not get the screws that it's designed to be used to work going up, trying to drill it into here. I said hell with it. I went and got these zip screws. On this side, I did it the way it's kind of designed. I put the rack right here, and then I had to offset this so that it doesn't get hung up. But also, check this out. This thing, when you do hook it, it's real difficult to get it in at this angle. So I actually had to bend the hook out a little bit, and I may just cut it because I don't know how necessary it is. But anyways, it's real difficult to use, and I don't know a better way, to be honest with you. Hopefully they'll help you to make your build go a little bit smoother, and you can learn from my mistakes.